start with let's start with how to run virtual machine on your computer. How to run virtual machine on your computer. Start writing. How to run virtual machine on your computer. How to run virtual machine on your computer. What is virtual machine from our last class? Just to find out if we actually understood what virtual machine is. From our last class, what did we describe or define as virtual machine? What is a virtual machine? Nobody? You want to start opening your notes before you respond? You know, machine is like it's a computer that is in your own computer, but it is virtual. Correct? Correct. If you support that definition, raise up your hands. How many people are raising up them? Only you. Those of you that not raise up your hand means you not support that definition. So how will you define your own? It is a software-based what? Machine in a computer. Ngozi, what is your own suggestion? Collection. Okay. Of cloud. Israel. Hope they have ended the war going on in your own city. A virtual machine, right? A virtual machine in the bracket VM, so it's usually denoted as VM. A virtual machine, I said, is usually denoted as what? VM. So in any cyber security material, you see VM. Those cases present what? Virtual what? Machine. The virtual machine in the bracket VM is a software emulation of a physical computer. Is a software emulation of physical computer. Are you with me? The software emulator, emulation of physical computer. Software emulation of physical computer. Are you with me? Post or paragraph. It runs an operating system, the bracket OS. It runs an operating system, in a bracket, you write OS. Or programs. It runs an operating system, in bracket OS, or programs on top of a host machine. On top of a host machine. That is the other computer the young man mentioned. So the host machine is what? The computer that is hosting it. On top of the host machine's operating system. So the machine that is hosting it also has what? An operating system, just like you have it now. The laptop has what? Operating system installed, right? Which is Windows what? Windows 11, right? And out of that now, you are now creating additional what? Machine, which is now what? The virtual machine. So, allowing, this is one of the benefits, allowing multiple VMS, allowing operating system, on top of what? A host machine OS, allowing multiple VMS. Yes, now continuation of that, still part of it. Allowing multiple VMS. That VMS represents what? Virtual machines. That is more than one. To run on a single physical machine. To run on a single physical machine. Get it from your neighbor. The virtual machine is a software emulation of a physical computer. Full stop. It runs an operating system, OS, or programs on top of a host machine operating system, allowing multiple VMS to run on a single physical computer. Is that taken? Hope that is clear. So let's quickly look at the key characteristics of a virtual machine so that you will know what is expected or what is made up of. So I will just paraphrase on the characteristics and then we go into the very one we want to install. Key characteristics of virtual machine. 1, hardware virtualization. You notice in our last class, we took time to go and turn on the virtualization technology. Hardware virtualization. Just to explain briefly, VMS use virtualization software to emulate hardware components. VMS use virtualization software to emulate hardware components. VMS use virtualization software to emulate hardware components, such as the CPUs, the memory, and the storage. So this one is a very key virtualization. Later you say you are lost to pressing phone. As a hardware virtualization, VMS use virtualization software to emulate hardware components such as CPUs, memory, and storage. So let's break it down here. The physical computer you have that is going to host the virtual machine has a local drive, right? Which you can physically see. It also have a memory card, right? Which you can also see. And then it also has CPU, which you can equally see. Are you with me? So now we are saying that the virtual machine is an emulator. It emulates that physical computer, just like that computer has physical hard drive, physical memory, physical CPU, which is the processor. The same way it copies it. That is the emulation I'm talking about. So when you see a virtual machine represented with an image, because what we are going to install now is just what? An image to us. Because the only physical computer we have is this one that we are seeing. But other ones will be represented as what? Images of different what? Computer. So just like the way you have memory, because while I'm explaining this now, the Kali Linux we are going to install is what? In this case, we are installing it as a virtual what? Machine. On top of this what? Single what? Physical computer. So, sir, does it mean that the Kali Linux will come with its own storage? Does it mean that the Kali Linux will also have its own memory? Does it mean that the Kali Linux also has its own CPU? What will be your answer? Yes. Yes. That is why we use the word emulation. So when somebody say a virtual server, it means that what? That is a server that is hosted on top of what? A physical server somewhere. So there is a physical machine, huge, big and powerful what? Machine called what? Server. And then a way of duplicating it, that is where what? This virtualization comes from. It's just like your Zoom, which is what? An application for teleconferencing, right? One person is hosting the what? With a physical computer. The rest are joining virtually, right? And that is why that kind of training is called what? Virtual what? Training or online what? Training. So the person that is hosting, we see your picture as a representation of what? A person. But it's your image that is actually seen. So that is, I just want us to understand the concept around this so-called virtualization we are talking about. So the virtual box that we install, that software, who can now tell us the role of that software? That virtual box that we install, what is the main function of it? No?
It's like a package.
A package that is going to what? Package or hold what? The virtual what? Machines. So there are two categories of virtual machine we are going to install in that virtual box. So that virtual box is just like a territory that states your boundary. It's just like a safe territory that you are permitted to practice what? Ethical hacking. So you are bound by that virtual box. You are limited. That is why we say that what is a legal platform approved for practicing what? Ethical what? Hacking. I don't know if you are getting me. So we cannot set up a virtual machine without having what? The holder, which is what? The virtual box. It is not only cyber security that involve what? Virtual box. If you want to learn cloud engineering now, you will need what? Virtual box. They may have their own equivalent software. It may not be this what? This one is ethical hacking virtual box. So there might be another app that is doing almost the same thing, holding different what? Virtual what? Machine together on a network. So that is the simple meaning of what? So I mentioned the key feature to be what? The first one I said what? Hardware what? Virtualization, right? That is the one I just defined now. Then the second key characteristics, I just want to talk about three of them, and then we move to the practical installation of the Kali Linux. The second key criteria of what? Virtual what? Machine is operating system virtualization. Operating system virtualization.
operating system virtualization, VMS. VMS can run their own OS. The explanation on that particular key feature. VMS can run their own OS. So what does that mean? That what? They can run their own OS on top of that machine. So they are not using that OS that is already what? Installed in that machine. They can run their own. Is one of their characteristics, independent of the host machine OS. Let me come again. VMS can run their own OS, independent of the host machine's OS. That is what? They can do without what? The OS that is running on the host machine, like we are going to see. So that is one of the key characteristics. The third one is isolation. Isolation. That is another keyword characteristic of what? Virtual what? Machine. Isolation. VMS are isolated from each other. Even though you install them in that virtual bus, they are all separated what? From each other. They might be in that same virtual bus, but they are not connected, as in they are not mixed up. VMS are isolated from each other and the host machine, improving security and stability. I said VMS are isolated from each other and the host machine. So even the machine that is hosting them, they are also what? Separated from it. Not talk of the ones that are in the same virtual bus. From each other and the host machine, improving security stability. So let's look at the example of the virtual machine we want to install now. Example of the virtual machine we want to install is Kalininos. Example of the virtual machine we want to install. Now we understand the entire concept around what? Virtual machine. Now, which one are we installing today? We have about 4 of them we are going to be installing. I told you that the installation and the configuration can even take, in the old class, it take 3 weeks just try to set up. Because that is the first thing you must know. How to set up what? Hacking what? Lab. All this installation from virtual bus to installing what? Virtual machine is referred to as what? Setting up what? A virtual what? Lab. So if you go for an online interview or any form of interview in this field, the first question they will ask you, can you set up a hacking lab? Or let's say, can you set up a virtual what? Hacking what? Lab? Is a serious matter. If you cannot do it, you have failed. So this is not an aspect that you rush. So we take time to set up. Then will not take time to start learning the basics of these Kalininos and the basic of Python, the basic of Bash as your scripting languages that you are going to use to generate function for penetration. So the journey just started now. If you don't understand the setting up the lab, it means that you could be lucky that the company that employ you, someone else must have already what? Set up what? The lab. If it happens to be you as the first person, what will you do? So why I have emphasized on the importance is this. As we be going, hold your biro strong. Every step, write them. If I click here, write it, because the steps are much. So I will just be talking, you'll be writing your steps the way you know they can help you to know what you are doing. Because the steps, at some point, I will just summarize some steps. We'll be observing different stages. So I just pray that all our systems to just go through once, the way everybody have what? Visualization, technology that makes this work easy. If not by now, we will have been holding on to wait for somebody to go and get a compatible system before we proceed. So make sure that your system is also connected to the internet, so that if for any stage probably is looking for a plugin, it can as well what contact the internet and augment it to allow the installation to proceed. So I said the example of the first virtual machine we are installing is what? Kali what? Kali Linux. So we need to know what that means. The topic will now be installation slash setting of Kali Linux operating system, the hacker. The way I'm saying it now, like that. Installation slash setting up the Kali Linux operating system, the hacker. There's a reason why I'm using the word what? The hacker. Are you with me? So let's start by knowing what is the Kali Linux. But just write this note first. As mentioned before, quickly, as mentioned before, we will be using Kali Linux as our own hacking machine. So you know this is what has spelled out the purpose of this virtual machine. I said, as mentioned before, we will be using Kali Linux as our hacking machine. So that is our choice. So let's define what is Kali Linux now. Kali Linux is a custom distribution. Kali Linux is a custom distribution. Kali Linux is what? A custom what? Distribution of Linux. So the main thing is what? Linux. So Kali is a version of what? Linux operating system. Listen, Linux is what? An operating system. Where you have OS, where you have Windows, where you have Windows. So Linux is what? An operating system. Now when you say Kali, that means what? Is a version, is someone's version of what? Linux. And that is the one that is recommended for what? Ethical what? Hacking. So you hardly come across an ethical hacker that does not know what is called what? Kali Linux. That's the first thing. So an interviewer, they ask you, do you know what is called Kali Linux? And you are like, Kali Linux. I will never employ such a person. The question we should be asking is that what do you use for hacking? When you don't even know the main machine that does the what? The hacking. So they cannot be used for unethical hacking. Go and use your. You can still use it. I don't want to say that because I may be going live. At NIT, please, we don't encourage unethical hacking. Yes. Before they will come and ban me, I did my own. I'm safe. Okay, don't worry. I know what to do. That is running what? Kali. A lot of what? Barriers. Because by default, it's secured. Hope I've answered that question. If you know where answer, come back later. Your question now, I think I can see answer your questions online, your own. Your own is safe for me to answer online. You are saying that without going through VirtualBox now, and I've answered you now. I said you can install, you can use any of this. You see everything you are doing in that VirtualBox. And start training you how to hack system outside the virtual bus, then we are going against what? The law. We can be arrested.
If you didn't setting up this virtual lab, everybody don't have it in their system. And you now go home.
Thank God you said you now go home. You are no longer within a night.
So let me what like you said, the system.
Yes.
So if just like we have a computer
Yes.
has the operating system to input.
Yes.
Now, if we're employed in a company where we have to maybe server security experts.
Expert, yes.
For us to be able to maybe try to do penetration tests.
Yes, yes. For the company.
Do we have to have a virtual box installed in our own system? It must not. It's not. You can still look. It must not. It's like if you're not working for the company, it's probable that the calendar of the main things for the computer. Yes, somewhere what you see now. Don't be user friendly.
Sorry, I was busy processing something else while you were saying. Can you come again?
Yeah, I think that if just like you said, if for the practical we're going to give away, there's not a virtual target.
What? Communicate. What? Network. We mentioned what? IP what? Address. In that virtual bus, the machine you want to hack, even the one in the virtual bus, is its own IP address that you supply. So if you supply an IP address of that office system, it's the same thing. It will scan it and get you the information you want. Yes, you have to set it up. It's part of your tools. It's part of your tools. That is the reason why this topic is very, very important. You set up a lab. How do you hack with asking what? A lab.
Same person I had. That was you set up.
Yes, you have to set up lab. Whether it's virtual bus lab, there must be what? Lab.
So if I set Kalimos as my main operating system, that's the lab, and that is operate.
As your operating system. Yes, you can still use it. But the only thing is that why you may not be able to use it. As we proceed, you understand it. Because we have to network. There is a network that will be set up. And that network now, that network now, you have to make sure that all the computers that you want to hack, in this case now, have to be on that same network. Probably that one is because you are learning. Because when you are not learning now, you cannot get all the computers in the world you want to hack in one network. So I will just say that it is very possible, in as much you have the Kali Linux directly installed. You don't have another OS that is hosting it. So you are not running directly what? Kali Linux. You are good to go. But if you are going to have OS, maybe like Windows, it cannot. You must bring that Kali Linux through what? A virtual box. So that it will be isolated from what? The base window. I think I mentioned that before, that install what? Kali only on the system. So the code you are writing, then you will not even need target machine. That is why it can easily work, because it's only the Kali Linux as a hacker you'll be using. All you need is just to be doing what we call reconnaissance to gather what? Your information, whether passive or what? Active on the machine you want to what? Hack on the network. So here now we know the machine you want to hack, but when you start the re-hacking outside virtual bus, you don't even know the machine you want to hack. So you will use technologies, you will use scripts to scan network and know IP address of systems around. Then you pick one and start what? Penetrating. But as we are learning now, we are going to install our own machine. We know the machine we want to hack. That is the standard for learning. Is that clear? Can we move forward now? If you have other questions as we proceed, you might ask. But I just want us to know that this aspect is very what? key. It's very key. So what did I say we are doing now? Setting up your what? Kali-Linux. No, I said installation / the hacker. All right, the hacker. So now I know I have defined. I don't think I've completed the definition of what? The Kali-Linux, right? So I said Kali-Linux is a custom distribution of Linux created and maintained by offensive security. So who created this Kali? What was it created for? Created for offensive and what? Created for offensive security. Created and maintained by what? Offensive security. Kali-Linux is a custom distribution of Linux created and maintained by offensive security. Additional note, it comes with preloaded. Additional note, it comes preloaded with all the tools necessary to successfully hack into machines. It comes preloaded. It comes preloaded with all the tools necessary to successfully hack into machines. To successfully hack into machines. To successfully hack into what? Machines. It comes preloaded with all the tools necessary to successfully hack into machine. So now you know why you are installing what? That's why we call it what? The hacker. All the tools you need, they are already what? Programmed in. Additional notes, most of our hacking will be done with Kali-Linux virtual machine. Most of our hacking will be done with Kali-Linux virtual machine. Most what? Most of our hacking will be what? Done with what? Kali-Linux virtual what? Machine. Now, let's quickly go for the installation. Remember that you have the link for downloading it, right? Those link that I give to you. You have the link for, so I'm skipping the aspect of downloading it. Let's just go straight to, we already have the softwares with us. So the first thing I'm going to do, step 1, so step by steps on how to install Kali-Linux first. Installation / setup. Because we are doing all of them together. Installation / what? Setup of Kali-Linux. Step number 1. Open the virtual box you installed. So that is where you start from, because that is where you want to install it. Open the virtual box you installed. So this is my virtual box. We need to off that light so that you can see very well. Open the virtual box. Okay. Now, this is how it will open. So make sure that you are on the same page with me, because we have to be going together. Also, I'm under your laptop, so we want to start laying us now. So from here, you click on New. Click on New. That is the first step. Make sure you are writing. Don't be carried away with the practical. Every step you observe, make sure you note it down. The first step is for you to open what? The virtual box. to indicate that you are installing this virtual machine in what? Your virtual box. All right? And what are we doing now? The whole of this exercise, including the one we did the other time, can be phrased as what? Setting up what? Virtual what? Hacking what? Lab. You are preparing a lab for what? Hacking. For penetration what? Testing. Now, as soon as I click on that what? New, it brought out a dialog box. So I want to spend some time to explain some of the features. This is just like a form, a questionnaire that you need to what? Fill. So from here, you have to start by giving your machine a name. So your next step is what? Specify the machine what? Name. To be Kali is not compatible with Kali, but I'm using what? Kali. So everybody should use Kali. So my machine name is what? Kali. And make sure that you have this information documented. Because when we start, there will be a place where to ask you, submit the name of the Kali on your machine before I log you in. So this particular name, make sure you document it somewhere. The name you are using, if you put a Bukoroko, write it down somewhere so that in case we continue the journey and there's a place that says, enter your machine name, put a Bukoroko. Now I have specified what? My machine what? Name to be what? Kali. There is a place that says what? ISO what? Machine. ISO machine. Sorry, ISO what? Image. ISO image. So that is expected to be so that we will note down, okay, sorry. I skip one before that one, right? Folder. Now, don't change anything in that place of what? Folder. Now, this folder specify, in case you are writing it down, but you are not changing it. By default, is in the what? The right setting, but in case you are making your note. So the installation folder, that's what it means. That installation folder means you have to specify the directory where the Kali will be installed in your C drive. You can see the root is what? C, right? To specify the directory where the Kali will be installed in your C drive. Then note, leave it as what? Default. Don't go and change anything. Specify the directory where the Kali machine will be what? Installed in your C drive. So who can tell us where? Let me just interpret because of time. So this C, letter C, represents what? Drive C, which is your local drive, right? Where all apps are what? Usually installed. Then this column / is a comment that says that in your drive C, you have what? Users. Inside users, you have what? Egwero. And then inside Egwero, you have what? A virtual box. So if this place is showing another folder, it means that you are not currently installing your Kali Linux in what? This environment. So for the fact that it's already capturing the virtual box, then I am working with the right word setting. That's why I say to leave it on what? At default. Now let's go to the ISO now. What am I expected to do under what? ISO image. An ISO image is a file that contains a copy of data. I expect us to be writing. Don't worry, you get to where you start penetrating. Writing for now. An ISO image is a file that contains a copy of the data on an optical disc. On an optical disc. A file that contains a copy of the data on an optical what? Disc, such as CD, DVD, and etc. So what is ASIN? Look up. What is ASIN is the software. In that software pack I gave to us, I already downloaded what? Kali Linux and save it in that software, right? So this is to help us to reference it here, that particular software that you're going to install. So if I click here now, it will ask me what? Order. So I'll click on order. It will open a storage dialog box. So I'm targeting that software folder I gave to us. That is where you'll be targeting. Now, in my own case, I think I created it on desktop and I saved it with the name Cyber Software. Let me look for Cyber Software. Top. This one. No, this one. Yes. So I will open this one. I will see my Kali software there. But in your own case, that software that I gave you, locate it, you see what? The option that says what? Kali. Can you see it? Now you click on it and click open. So you have automatically called the file. So that is why you ought to have downloaded it before what? Embarking on this journey. Make sure you click, just select it and select open. Just touch it and click on open. Click on open. Have you done that? Let us be fast. The last. Okay, now just hold on. Now, actually, it's telling you that you should install it what? Manually. So since almost everybody is having the same thing, let me delete my own and go through the manual what? Method so that we will get it sorted out at once. So leave that place empty for now. Just clear everything from that box. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go to what? Type. Where you have what? Type. You choose what? Linux. That is where you are choosing the type of window you want to install in the virtual box. You choose what? Type. Select what? Linux. So you can see that as soon as you select that Linux, it changes the what? The subtype to what? Ubuntu. So when you click there, you see different options. So we are working with what? The Ubuntu. All these ones, they are different series. Okay? Exactly. So once you have done that, you click on finish. We click on finish. And I hope you are also taking notes of your step. Perform the step ASAP and be able to write your notes. So if your own is saying next, then click on next. What do you have after selecting next? To hardware, right? Okay, so now it means my own is, let me remove it and take it again. Just hold on so that we can be on the same page. So let's say what? Kali. So we left here for now. Let me see how you open your. Okay, so I'm going to continue with the way you have it there. You said? Okay, I've not changed my type. Okay, let me change it. So Linux. Okay. Now we have hardware here. That is where you jump to now. Okay. Now, what I did is that I skipped this particular step before because I'm going to come back to it since we are now installing the what? The Kali now. Well, let's just go this way. So your hardware, what is the space? So your next step is what? To click on hardware. Click on hardware. This hardware in your own case came after you selected what? Next, right? But my own is already what? Showing what? Finish. So I have to, on my own, go and consult what? The hardware. So which means that if I had clicked on finish, it will have what? Applied this default what? Hardware setting. Now, that hardware setting, under the memory, what do you have there? You have 2000 watts. 2 gig. So we are working with that, but it depends on the amount of memory you have. Remember, that's why we say that your system must have what? 8 gig. Because this virtual machine, particularly Kali, we use part of that 8 gig. So you are saying that out of the available memory, you want to set out what? 2 gig for what? Operating this particular machine. Or you want to increase it. Or you want to reduce it. You are allowed to increase, but the minimum should be what? That one that came as what? Default. Now the CPU. How many CPU? Remember we just talked about what? Emulating. The way your physical computer have a CPU. So these ones have already what? Are built in them their own equivalent. Okay? So if you want to dedicate 2 CPU or 1 CPU to running this OS, you are also allowed, but let's work with the default. Then that is for what? Hardware. So you just click on next now because you are maintaining that default setting as well. So click on next. What do you have? Visual what? Hard disk. Let me see what you have there. Under hardware. Okay. Let me see. I have already, okay, here. So this is where you are now, right? So what do you have there? Now remember that when I was telling us the criteria for installing virtual machine, I said your available memory must have 20% free space, right? Yes. This is the reason. So which means that there must be what? 20 gig plus or minus will be increased to like 21, 22 later. So which means that if your current space, because you are installing virtual on the physical machine, so which means that out of that physical machine storage space is what this one is using. So if you don't have up to 20 gig left there, you can't continue. That's what's at least you must have what? 20 gig, at least. So if you have like maybe you're using terabytes or 500 gig space, you don't have plan to add other things. You can what? Increase it. But let's go with that setting. If you want to increase it, this is where you increase it. Can you see it now? So if you feel that you have more than enough space, you can go ahead and increase your own, but it should not be less than what? 20 what? Gig that we make there. Now, you leave that. Now, after that, what do you have? I think it should be finished now. Or do you have any other interface? Do you still have next? Oh yeah, click on next. What do you have? Finish, right? Good. So anytime I want us to observe this, anytime you try to install and you skip the ISO image and it does not prompt you the next, just know that what? You either go in here manually or you just conclude with what? Whatever they must have set up. by selecting what? Finish. So now after that, I have it. So everybody select finish now quickly. So your next step now is what? Then click on finish. So once you click on finish, it has created what? An image of what? Kali. Any question? Do we have any question before I proceed from here? What is your question? What exactly is that? So that we know if it is what is important. No. You don't. You don't have any existing. You understand? At this point, this is the first one you are setting up. So just click on next and click on finish. So it assumes that we have just added the what? The Kali what? Machine, but we have not installed it. Hope you know that. Because we skipped that what? IS what? O. Image. That is the main software. So you cannot start it. If you start it now, it will not run until you call the software. So now the next step is what? How to manually add, because that is why we left it blank. How to manually add the Kali Linux digital data or installation data. Good, let's use the word installation data. How to manually add Kali Linux installation file or data. Why your things are too funny? Only today now, things to not fall. Yeah, what is happening? They will give you all the assistance to protect now. Everything. All the assistants are in the network. They have network engineer that you can just go to their network group and see all their branching system.
So that like if bank employee, let's say you be a bank, you protect all their systems.
All their systems are connected to a central point. It is that place that you protect. They store their file in cloud. They no longer have all the CPU again.
They will have subnet and they will have subnet.
They will have what?
Like they could be developing subnet now. Since it's a global.
Whether you develop software. Okay, subnet. See, they have it because it's not only you that will be there as a tech expert. The network administrator, the network engineer must have network what? All their system. What you are coming to this to know how to protect what? That system. Your work is not to network the system. That is not your work. All the machines have been networked. That is another field entirely. People that call this Cisco networking. They are the one that will do all the system configuration. Connect system in one branch to what? All their headquarters. And they can make them stand alone in a way that they still have virtual representation which we are protecting. But they are all still linked to what? A server, a central what? Server. That is why all the money, all the transactions you are doing with your respective banks, CBN have everything.
Who say work
not go there plenty? It's cloud now. It's cloud security. You're going to be made there now. We went through all this thing when we were learning now. Is it all the company that will have all their details in cloud? Some will still be having local. You protect everything. You don't specialize, okay.
Yeah, you not ask you about networking, what they ask you at least. Because let us say Asaba branch now, all the UBA in Asaba now. I think they will have their, like they will divide to a subnet. with regards to the bigger picture.
Mm.
So maybe now you know as the security personnel, I can come and protect the listener. You know as if you only like you know as if you only have that one server that.
So now I said we want to do what now? We want to manually what? Install the what? The Kali Linux installation file, right? Because we skipped it. That is what we will have considered under what? ISO image. So how do we do that? Step number 1, select the Kali machine and click on settings. Select the Kali machine and click on settings. Select the Kali machine and click on settings. Are you with me? So now I click and click on what? Settings. So it will bring out this. Select the Kali machine and click on setting. Have you all done that? I want us to be on the same. We have to be fast to those that want to travel now. And click on setting. Just be observing before another question will come now. Are we all on this page now before I proceed? Yeah. Now, you know where we are going. We are going to storage. It was under storage that we skipped that was ISO, right? So we are going to storage. So after selecting what? The setting, click on what? Storage. Click on storage. Make sure that you are looking at the screen and you are seeing almost the same interface, if not the same, please, to be sure that you are in the right place. Are we there? Okay. What can you see here? Empty. Which, if we're able to select it that time, it will have been showing what? That Kali. So the next time you come here, after this now, you are not going to meet what? Empty. And they have already showed you that what? The file format that should be here should be what? Kali dot what? VDI. So you click on that empty. That's your next step. Select the empty under the controller ID. Select the empty under the controller ID. This is as if no, observing. You are not writing. You are just observing this as if okay, want to follow it first. Okay. So that will not leave you behind. Know your way. Okay, now look up. Once you select that empty, you see this CD icon, right? You touch it. Click on that CD icon because I want to bring in the file now. Click on the CD icon. I'm waiting for you so that you can write your step. CD icon. Next time, Oga, sit down in pace. 2-2. I've encouraged that before. I don't know whether it's this class. So that you can check what your neighbor is doing and move faster. Now, you click on choose a disk file. Then it will now open up. So you follow that same method we are picking it when we're running ISO that time. So I'll go to desktop, use trace your own, depending on where you have that here. So this is my own. I'll click on it and select what? Open. So the moment you call it, it will give you the breakdown. What is the type? It's an image, right? What is the size? 4 GB. Location. You should be able to see this kind of breakdown. And then you should be able to see it here also. It's no longer showing what? Empty. Make sure you see it like this before we proceed though. Can we? Locate your folder now. That software that I gave to you. It should be there. Where did you have it? I think it should be on desktop. I hope you are. Now, after that, you click OK. Now, you will see that what? It will now bring back the analysis and show you the added what? Software. Can you see it now? Click OK. You should to see it here like this. Exactly. So the next one is how to set up the Kali network. Because I said this is installation slash what? Setting up. All of them, you do that together. So we just configured what? Storage now. So we still have other things to configure the network. And if you do not set it up properly, most of the hacking will be outputting error. Like I'm having with the senior class. Somebody will run code, their code will work. Somebody else will run code. One particular guy is on every time not working. It's from the setup. So we have to go back and what? Install everything. So just know that whatever you do here can determine, it might lead to, if you skip what you are supposed to have put in order here, when you start the hacking, you might have to come back and start installing afresh. So we are looking at how to set up the network. How will the Kali be communicating with other machines that's going to hack? Setting up Kali network. Setting up Kali network. Step 1. You know, the last step I gave to us, I said, click on the machine and select what? Setting, right? You can also right-click on that machine and see the what? The settings there. So let's follow this step so that we can also acknowledge that. Right-click on the Kali and select setting. I hope you are all right in your steps. Right-click on the Kali and click on setting. So this time around, we are going to where? Network. So you now click on network instead of storage. Click on network. Oh yeah. Some people are not clicking. Click so that click down. Huh? You click now. You started before. No starter. Yes.
That was when you see the issue, right?
You now go and double click. Now double click. Yeah, now.
Yes.
You are already installing now. You are your own. I don't know. You have not set on it. You are installing. Don't worry. Kali is talking to you from UK. Answer. Maybe. Let me pause my video first. Let's go there. Let's. Now, once you remember, I said right click and select what? Setting. And do what? Click on what? Network. Now you can see that we have different network adapter. Hello. From the network fundamental, what is network adapter? I explained that. What is network adapter from the network fundamentals? What is NIC? NIC. There was a slide where I was explaining NIC. Nobody? NIC, NIC. Help us, you want to try? Network interface controller. Right? Now, and I said I have to show us two cards now. I show us two cards, the one that have antenna and the one that does not have. You know, both of those we were learning, so that just theory. You will see the application and continue. Now, that is what you are programming here now. The communication of that card is what you are programming here. Now, look up. Here, under attached to, in other words, pay attention. Attached to, which network communicator the Kali will be attached to communicate because it's a hacker. If you choose the wrong network here, you see the reason why you want to deploy it. You say that what? I cannot detect anything because the network you connected it to is not the best network to break into other systems. So if you choose the wrong network here, all these networks, they are good, but based on the scenario. But the common one for hacking, you can use NAT, you can use what? Bridge. Now, bridge is this. When you use bridge, it means that what? Just like the Kali can connect to what? The target machine. Then the target machine can also what? Now, to be on the safer side, you don't want bridge. Let it just be one-way communication. Let only the Kali be hacking. There shouldn't be reverse. That is what? Bridge, if you want both sides. That is why we use what? NAT. Let's write. What is NAT? NAT means network address translation. Network address what? Translation. So which means that if I am choosing NAT network, that is the right one to choose, not just NAT. Network, NAT, I said what? NAT means network address. Translation. You all have NAT, have you? Does it have NAT? Continue. It depends on your system network setting and the kind of adapter card you are using. Do you have NAT? If you have NAT, you are good to go. Now, look at this here. I choose what? We have ordinary NAT, and then we have what? NAT network. Okay? Now, why we are choosing this NAT network? Because of the target machine that we will later configure on what? But for those of us that does not have NAT network, if you have NAT, it's still okay. Okay? So you choose either NAT network or you choose what? NAT. Yes. The same thing, the same as in they have, it might not be the same configuration, but you can use them to what? To connect. I said NAT is a technique. I'm defining it now. I am giving out the formula. I am explaining it now. If you don't have NAT, just choose only what? NAT for now. Let's choose only NAT. Then for the other target machine, we'll now use what? NAT network. All these things can be changed anytime. They can actually be changed. In case you are applying one and it's not working, you can switch to any one. I said what? Choose what? NAT. And I was defining what NAT is after giving us the formula, right?
NAT or NAT network.
We have NAT, we have NAT network. If your own did not have NAT network, look at my own here now. I have NAT, then I have what? NAT network. Where?
At the top of the
okay, yes. Okay, you go where what? Okay, you did not see all before. How many were you seeing before? Only two, but now what can you see? Okay, so just choose NAT. You choose NAT or NAT network, any of them can serve you. That's what I'm saying. So I was explaining what is NAT. NAT is a technique used in networking so that you know why you are choosing it. NAT is a technique used in networking to allow multiple devices on a private network to share single public address. NAT is a technique used in networking to allow multiple devices on a private network. Because this is your virtual box now, is a private what? Network. On a private network to share a single public address, IP address, to share a single public IP address. Are you with me?
Yes.
Public IP address when accessing the internet or external network. when accessing the internet or external what? Network. Or external network. Technique. Use. Have we written that? So after that, you click what? Okay. Which one is that one?
MAC address now.
Which one? Under network. The MAC address. As you explain MAC address. Okay, you don't know what is called MAC address. Do you know what is called MAC address? You don't know. Go and read your theory notes. Part of what we have spent time to discuss. Where? Deny. Which one did you select? Then you choose the basic because my own did not show me invalid network. Where is this? It's not there. Is it not what you are asking? Is it not what you are saying?
See your own. This thing does not show me. My own is showing.
Permission. Okay, permission mode. Which because you choose this one. I mean, I choose NAT. I choose if you choose NAT network, it will show you.
Sir, you say order this network, order adapter 1. You said promotional mode tonight. So allow
Oh yeah, choose NAT network because you choose ordinary NAT.
No, it's because when you choose NAT network, you get that one. If you choose ordinary NAT, that one will not.
Yes, if you choose ordinary NAT, you not get it. Switch to NAT network under expert since you know how to do expert.
If NAT network you choose, you choose NAT network, you display like this.
Use ordinary NAT under that.
Permission mode. Now listen. The implication of that is that when you start writing, is it promiscuous? Okay, promiscuous mode. Deny. Now this is still under permission. Okay, so though let's put it there. There's no issue. Let's put it there. So let's just be on the same network so that we'll be having familiar action when we start acting, so that people will not be interpreted. Yes. Put it on that NAT network. So what I want to do before is that I wanted to give NAT network to the target machine. Why this one run what? NATs. Because those ones we have to communicate what to this. You understand? Those who have to communicate, this will have to communicate to them. So anyone. So under allow, you see have what? Allow VM, allow what? All. So you can still put it on this and select what? Instead of deny, I'm the what? On allow what? All. So that there won't be any issue later.
Allow VM. Allow VM.
You see, you will see that there will be an issue. Let's go back to NAT, except if you are not having that issue. You will see that what your OK was not active when you were on that other method, right? I don't know whether it appears like that also your own. And if your OK is not active, it means that what it will not adopt it. Let's stay on NAT here, then on the target, so on what? NAT network. Because we will add them to the network. So let's click what? OK, to say that we have finalized that step. Is that all? So this is where I stop. We will start the installation properly in our next class. So that one will take time. I don't want to start it now. So what we have done now is that we have installed what? We have added the Kali to, we have not installed it to. We have not installed it. What we have done now is that you have only added the Kali installation file, and you have said the network is going to attach to, and also what? Which other thing again we did now? Just that in your virtual box. So the next class now, we will now start installing it to initialize it. It's just like when you want to format system, you put the city to copy the file into the system and start installing what? The file. So what we have done now, we have copied the file. So the next time we come now, we just open it here. We'll see me the file the way it is here. We will now what? Install. Because if I start it now, the next 15 minutes we are still there. So we'll start that. Yes, I have to stop. Okay, don't rush me. 6-month program, okay? You can go allocate the instructors. Oga, and I've also said I am terminating the class. Why are you questioning my decision again? If I have the power to fight, to hire and fire, so why are you questioning me?
He's in check.
Yeah?
He's in check.
I have power. I just drink this now. You don't ever they come one day buy food. Your teacher. I always eat. I want to show you sweets. Even if I know it, I will show you sweets, Abby. You don't know. You don't. No, I'm just telling you. I eat was finished. I drink water, not even food. Now water I drink is to make a fire that. Not be food. Water. You are going to do it.
That's side. You and get something. I say, sir, they'll just continue. Don't worry. Kill him. What was